Hi, welcome to our video review of the Hard Rock Hotel in Orlando, Florida, where we stayed during Thanksgiving week in November 2023. Stay tuned to the end of this video for my top 10 tips for staying here. The hotel, as the name implies, has a rock music theme. There's always music and videos playing in the public areas and by the pool, which gave the hotel a nice cool vibe as you walk around it, although it was never loud enough to be intrusive or annoying. As you can see, this was Thanksgiving week at the end of November, and the Christmas decorations were already up in the hotel and the parks. The hotel also has live acoustic acts on in the bar every evening, most of which were excellent, but more of that later. The Hard Rock is one of the 3 premium hotels on the Universal Studios site and is about a 5-minute walk from the Universal Studios park. Included with your stay at any of the premium hotels are unlimited fast passes for the parks, which gives you priority access to all of the rides with the exception of Hagrid's in Harry Potter World. Our room was on the 6th floor with a garden view to try and avoid potential noise from the pool, but that was never really an issue. Each floor had its own memorabilia as you exit the lifts, ours being an outfit worn by funk legend James Brown, and here's Trent Reznor's outfit from 9 Inch Nails that's on the 2nd floor. So this is our room, 6082. See, there's plenty of storage, plenty of space there for clothes, and a safe, full tea and coffee facilities, in fact mainly coffee facilities, with some expensive water that you can buy for $7 a bottle, should you so desire. This is the main part of the room. We've got 2 double beds. Of course, we've got the mirror that's got all of the heights of all of the rock stars on it, and rather randomly Gwyneth Paltrow, for some unknown reason, is on there. Looking around the room, good thing about this room is because it's at the end of a corridor, it's actually dual aspect, so we don't have anyone to our left hand side. We've got windows with a view. This is a garden room, and that's the main view over the garden. It's great to have the dual aspect. Got a couple of chairs to sit in there, and our TV. There's some mains PowerPoints down here. If you're coming from the UK, don't forget your UK plug adapter, as I did. Hotel TV. There's not a lot on this in the way of channels. If you can bring a Fire Stick or something to use, that might be a good idea. Lights by the bed. One thing we did find, it's got air conditioning in the rooms. This is November, so we don't really need the air conditioning, so we have that switched off most of the time. One thing we did find is the fridge here that they provide doesn't appear to be the right size for the cupboard it's in, and it's also very noisy, so we've unplugged our fridge because of the noise of a night. And apparently this is something that a few people have commented on when they've come into their rooms, is that the fridges were unplugged when they arrived. It's obviously other people unplugging their fridges because of the noise, and you can't actually shut the cupboard because the fridge is too big. So that's not super ideal. Then we've got the bathroom area. So we've got the main sink, as you can see, a nice little drumstick piece of art on the wall there, which is nice. Then the main part of the bathroom with sink, toilet, mirror, and a decent shower. Comes with all of the amenities. You get your Hard Rock toiletries, plenty of towels, which is good. And that's really the main part of the room. There's a little view of the floor layout, so you may want to check out which rooms are end of row that potentially you'll get dual aspect on. I think we are potentially in one of these kind of areas for the dual aspect.
We told the hotel it was our wedding anniversary while we were there, and they kindly provided us with these treats as an anniversary gift, which was really nice. Here we are going down the main staircase that takes you to the kitchen restaurant, Emack Bolio's convenience store, as well as the entrance to the pool and the separate exit for the river taxi to the parks and Universal City Walk. As you can see at the top of the staircase, they've got this fantastic chandelier made of saxophones, which is very cool. At the bottom of these stairs, you can see the entrance to Emack Bolio's marketplace. Emack Bolio's is a convenience store for snacks, fresh pizzas, coffees and shakes, which we absolutely loved. The kitchen restaurant, not so much. We went there on our first night, it was empty, but it still took them 45 minutes to get me a suspiciously undercooked burger, which made me violently ill at 2 o'clock that night. Not the best start to our stay. Needless to say, we didn't go back there again. The Hard Rock is a great pool area. We had a couple of afternoons there hanging out, drinking cocktails and taking in the sun. There are always plenty of sunbeds available and plenty of lifeguards and serving staff to look after us. If you get bored with the parks, there are worse places to hang out for a few hours, certainly. They also had cabanas to rent for an additional fee. They came with chairs, sofas and widescreen TVs. So every evening the hotel had an acoustic act in their bar that played from about 9 PM till 11. As you'd expect, they were all very good and slightly different in style. This, I believe, is Crystal Smith, who had a nice Jewel vibe going on. My biggest disappointment was that for a hotel themed on rock music, where a lot of its guests are probably musicians, the hotel didn't put on an open mic night or a karaoke or something like that, as I'm sure that would have been popular with the guests staying there, who I'm sure would like to get up and perform. We certainly would have liked to. Maybe one for the hotel to think about for the future. Mika Reed was excellent, sounded great, even though he had a cold, which he was struggling with. Mika was an American Idol contestant when it first started and made the top 50, and you can hear why. If you see Mika, get him to show you his fingertips, as I've never seen hands like it. He plays without a pick and his calluses are absolutely unreal. Okay, so I did promise that if you hung around, I'd give you my top 10 tips for staying at the Hard Rock Hotel. So here we go. At number 10, I'd recommend that you use Uber. Get an Uber from the airport when you arrive in Orlando. We got an airport taxi. It cost us $65. It's very expensive, despite them quoting us $55 when we were at the taxi rank. On the way back, we got an Uber and it cost us $25. So definitely worth, I think, picking up an Uber at the airport if you can. We were using Ubers regularly to take us to different places. They do have a cab service at the hotel that you can get through the concierge or through the bus boys at the front reception. We used those a couple of times, but in the end we just stuck with Ubers because they just were easier to get, and they came quickly, and they cost less money. So tip number 10, use Uber. Tip number 9, use the hotel concierge. They'll book restaurants for you and do various different things. The restaurants do hold back reservations for hotel guests. So if you speak to the concierge, you want to get in a particular restaurant in City Walk or in any of the premium hotels, they will be able to arrange that for you and usually get you a table. They got us tables at the Mama Della's at the Portofino and also at the Hard Rock Cafe. I can't think if they got us anywhere else, but it's definitely worth using the concierge services if you can, if you want to get into a restaurant. Tip number 8, go to Mama Della's at the Portofino. It's about a 5-minute walk, well maybe a 10-minute walk from the Hard Rock. It's a lovely walk along the river, and Mama Della's is actually a great Italian restaurant. So if you like pasta, it's very old school Italian restaurant, very family feel about it. The food was excellent. My wife is always very, very cautious about eating pasta out because she has a peanut allergy, and she's worried about lupin flour being used in pasta, which is a similar peanut type allergen. It's a legume, and they were very reassuring there. They took great care of her to the point that she was actually comfortable eating pasta, and she had a fantastic meal there. So if you get a chance, the ambience is great. They have singers walking around doing opera and that kind of thing. The service was great. The staff were all lovely. So I can't recommend Mama Della's high enough. We went there twice, so it's definitely worth a visit. Tip number 7, I would suggest rather than get water taxis, the free water taxis, you might be better off walking around. So walk rather than use a water taxi. The parks are only a 5-minute walk from the Hard Rock. I think it's the closest hotel to the parks. The Portofino's 10 minutes away, and usually if you're waiting for a taxi, they can take 15 or 20 minutes to get on a water taxi. So I would always recommend that you walk if you can. It's a nice walk as well through the gardens there. I understand, you know, if you've had a long day in the parks and you're tired and you're just coming off City Walk, it is easier to jump on a water taxi. So in those sort of circumstances, it's probably sensible to get one. But generally, I would say we didn't really use the water taxis a great deal. Tip number 6, use the hotel pool. The hotel pool is really nice. The bar there does nice bar food. It's not super expensive. The cocktails there are great. The waiting staff are great there. You've got a cool vibe at the pool, and it's probably recognised as one of the best of the premium hotel pools anyway. So if you get time during your stay, definitely make use of the pool, I would say. Tip number 5, you probably saw earlier in the video, don't hire a guitar. I'll leave it at that. Tip number 4, this might be a useful one if you like shopping. Try and book when there's potentially a big holiday and there's holiday sales on at the premium outlets. There's a premium outlet which is a 5-minute cab ride away from the Hard Rock. We were there for the bank holiday, not the bank holiday, we were there for Thanksgiving, and that also coincided with the Black Friday sales. So there were some crazy bargains to be had on Black Friday, and actually that whole weekend there were sales and bargains to be had. So we went and spent a lot more than we wanted to, but there were some deals that were just too good to ignore. Usually when we come to Orlando, we come at, I think it's end of April, beginning of May, when it's Mother's Day weekend, and they usually have some crazy deals in the premium outlets at Mother's Day weekend as well. So I would suggest try and look for a holiday when there's going to be sales on, because you can get some fantastic bargains, and probably want to bring a spare suitcase just to take everything home in. Tip number 3, again on the shopping side of things, when you're in the parks, if you stay at one of the premium hotels, you can actually have your purchases in the park stores taken back to your room. They'll deliver those purchases back to your room free of charge. It's a really good service. Saves you having to hump around a load of gear or whatever you might buy in the parks all day. You can just send it back to the room. We did that. We bought some t-shirts in one of the shops and they were back in our room before we were. So it's a really good service. So definitely make use of that if you can. Tip number 2, I would suggest, we really enjoyed having a dual aspect room. So if you can get a dual aspect room, you get more light in the room, you've got more views, and probably on a higher floor you'd want, if you want to stay away from the noise of the pool, if you're on a poolside room. Not that we found that to be a particular problem, but that's definitely worth doing. My number 1 tip for staying at the Hard Rock, and this is a great tip. Use Emack and Bolio's, the convenience store down on the ground floor. We used it for pizzas, we used it for milkshakes. The pizzas are amazing, they're all cooked fresh, they're tasty, they're not super expensive. It's certainly a lot more cost effective to eat there than to buy a pizza there than it is to get room service or to eat in one of the restaurants. I think we probably had pizzas out of there 3 or 4 times while we were there for our 10-day stay. It just was really very easy and very filling. And when you've had a long day at the parks and maybe you don't want to go to a restaurant, just go and grab a pizza in Emack and Bolio's, because they're really excellent. Similarly for their milkshakes, I had a space cake milkshake there, which was probably the nicest milkshake I've ever had, and I love milkshakes. And also they're not huge, like crazy huge milkshakes, so you can actually drink them and not feel like you're going to be ill afterwards. I had a couple of shakes in the parks at Häagen-Dazs and one of the other outlets in Universal, and by the time I'd finished the milkshake I was stuffed and felt really uncomfortable because they're just too big and they're too rich. But the ones in Emack and Bolio's, excellent. So it's my number 1 tip. Make good use of Emack and Bolio's, because you won't regret it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. If you've enjoyed it, please give me a like, because it'd be nice if this could be shared with other people that are potentially going to the Hard Rock. Otherwise, yeah, that's me for today. Thanks for watching. Say goodbye to the Hard Rock Hotel. Bye Hard Rock. We've had a lovely time. We've had a lovely stay. Hopefully we will be back someday soon.